Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the world of automotive innovations that have revolutionized the way we drive. Buckle up as we explore 5 legendary technologies that changed the automotive world forever. Welcome to the channel, you bunch of petrol heads. Today, we're not talking about some clapped-out rust bucket or a hairdresser's car. No, today we're diving deep into the greasy, oily heart of automotive brilliance. We're talking about the innovations, the breakthroughs, the stuff that took us from horse-drawn carriages to, well, whatever the hell Elon Musk is cooking up these days. Buckle up, because we're about to explore 5 legendary technologies that didn't just change the game, they reinvented it entirely. First up, we've got ABS, or anti-lock braking system, for those who like their acronyms spelled out. Now, before ABS came along, slamming on the brakes was a bit of a gamble, especially if the road was wetter than a fish's backside. You'd lock up the wheels, skid all over the place, and pray you didn't end up as a hood ornament on a passing lorry. Not ideal, really, but then, some bright spark, probably a German, let's be honest, decided enough was enough. They figured out a way to stop your wheels from turning into useless lumps of metal the moment you hit the brakes. Enter ABS. A system so clever it makes Einstein look like a toddler trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. See, ABS uses sensors to keep an eye on your wheels like a hawk watching a field mouse. The moment it senses a lockup, it jumps into action faster than a cheetah on a caffeine bender. It releases and reapplies the brakes hundreds of times per second, keeping those wheels spinning and giving you, the driver, a fighting chance of staying on the road. It was first used on airplanes because apparently, landing a giant metal bird on a runway is a tad tricky without it. But in 1978, Mercedes-Benz decided to grace the world with the first ABS-equipped production car, the S-Class. And thank heavens they did, because let's face it, most drivers wouldn't know a controlled stop if it hit them in the face. Today, ABS is as common as a bad haircut in a boy band. It's in everything from your nan's shopping trolley to supercars that could outrun a fighter jet. And that's a good thing because it means fewer accidents, less mayhem, and more importantly, fewer insurance claims. Right, next up is something near and dear to my heart, turbocharging. Now, some people will tell you that turbocharging is just a way to make small engines feel more powerful. And they're not wrong, but they're also missing the point entirely. Turbocharging, my friends, is like strapping a rocket to the back of your engine. It's about squeezing every last ounce of performance out of those cylinders, about turning a gentle breeze into a hurricane of horsepower. Here's how it works. Imagine you've got a balloon full of exhaust gases, right? Now, instead of just letting those gases escape into the atmosphere like some kind of environmental criminal, you use them to spin a turbine. This turbine is connected to a compressor, which sucks in air and shoves it into the engine with the force of 1,000 angry badgers. More air means more fuel, and more fuel means one thing: more power. Now, the idea of turbocharging has been around since the dawn of time, or at least since the dawn of the internal combustion engine, but it was in the 1960s that things started to get interesting. Chevrolet and Oldsmobile both took a stab at it with their Corvair, Monza, and Jetfire models, but it was Porsche who really put turbocharging on the map with the legendary 911 Turbo in the 1970s. Suddenly, everyone wanted a piece of the turbocharged action. It was like a virus spreading through the automotive world, infecting everything from family hatchbacks to Formula One cars. And why not? Turbocharging gives you more power, better fuel efficiency, and let's be honest, a much cooler engine note. It's a win-win-win situation, really. Chapter 3. Hybrid engines, saving the planet 1 mile at a time. Now, before you reach for the remote and switch over to something more stimulating like watching paint dry, hear me out on this one. Hybrid engines might not be the sexiest things on 4 wheels, but they're bloody important. Why? Because they represent a step towards a cleaner, greener future. And no, I'm not talking about that avocado on toast, tofu eating kind of green. I'm talking about the kind of green that means we might actually have a planet left to drive on in a few decades' time. So, how do these eco-warriors work? Well, it's all about combining the best of both worlds. The grunt of a petrol or diesel engine with the silent efficiency of an electric motor. Think of it like a power couple, but instead of arguing about who left the toilet seat up, they're working together to save you money on fuel and reduce your carbon footprint. At low speeds, the electric motor does all the heavy lifting, silently whisking you along like a ninja on a skateboard. But when you need a bit more oomph, say for overtaking that caravan that's been holding you up for the last hour, the internal combustion engine kicks in to provide a surge of power. It's a beautiful thing, really. Now, the Toyota Prius might not be everyone's cup of tea, but you've got to give credit where credit's due. Back in 1997, when it first hit the streets, it was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. It was weird, it was wonderful, and it proved that hybrid technology could actually work in the real world. These days, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is making a hybrid car. You've got everything from sensible family saloons to supercars that could outrun a hurricane. And that's a good thing, because it means we're finally starting to take this whole environmental thing seriously. Chapter 4, ESP. Keeping you pointing in the right direction. Right, let's talk about ESP, or Electronic Stability Program, for those who like their acronyms to sound less like a dodgy nightclub. Now, some of you might be thinking, ESP? Bah! Who needs electronic nannies telling me how to drive? Well, I'll tell you who needs it. Anyone who's ever overcooked it in a corner, found themselves staring down the barrel of a ditch and thought, well, this is going to be expensive. See, ESP is like having a guardian angel riding shotgun, except instead of wings and a halo, it's got sensors and microchips. It's constantly monitoring your car's every move, like a paranoid parent watching their teenager at a party. And the moment it senses you're about to do something stupid, like try to channel your inner Lewis Hamilton on a rain-soaked roundabout, it steps in. Using a combination of braking and engine management wizardry, ESP can apply the brakes to individual wheels, reduce engine power, or even do both at the same time. It's like having an invisible hand guiding you back onto the straight and narrow, preventing you from becoming another statistic in the annals of automotive misadventure. Now, Mercedes-Benz, those pioneers of automotive safety, were at it again in 1995, introducing the first ESP system on the S-Class. And thank goodness they did, because let's face it, most drivers wouldn't know oversteer from understeer if it hit them in the face. These days, ESP is mandatory on all new cars in Europe, and for good reason. It's one of the most effective safety features ever invented, right up there with seatbelts and airbags. So next time you find yourself hurtling around a corner with a bit too much enthusiasm, thank your lucky stars for ESP. It might just save your bacon, or at least your no-claims bonus. Chapter 5. Autonomous driving, the future is now. Alright, buckle up, buttercups, because we're about to enter the realm of science fiction made reality: autonomous driving. Now I know what you're thinking. Self-driving cars, that's just a load of Silicon Valley hype, isn't it? And you know what? You're not entirely wrong. We're not all zipping about in robo-taxis just yet, but the future is closer than you might think. See, autonomous driving is like the holy grail of automotive technology. It's about creating cars that can drive themselves, freeing us up to do more important things like catching up on our sleep, reading a book, or finally mastering the art of origami. No more traffic jams, no more road rage, just pure, unadulterated freedom. So, how does it work? Well, imagine stuffing a supercomputer into your car and giving it a crash course in driving, courtesy of some very clever algorithms. These cars are packed with sensors, cameras, and LiDAR systems that can see more than a hawk on a reconnaissance mission. They can detect obstacles, read road signs, and even predict what other drivers are going to do before they do it. It's like having a psychic co-driver who also happens to be a driving instructor. Now, Tesla might be the current darling of the autonomous driving world with their autopilot system, but they're not the only ones in the game. Google's Waymo is leading the charge for fully self-driving cars, while traditional car makers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW are hot on their heels. We're still in the early days, but the progress is mind-boggling. From lane-keeping assist to adaptive cruise control, autonomous features are already making our roads safer and our lives easier. And who knows, maybe one day soon, we'll all be able to sit back, relax, and let the car do the driving. Just try not to fall asleep at the wheel, or rather the lack thereof. Outrow the road ahead. So there you have it, folks, 5 game-changing technologies that have revolutionized the way we drive. From the life-saving embrace of ABS, to the mind-bending potential of autonomous driving, these innovations have shaped the automotive landscape as we know it. But the journey doesn't end here. The automotive world is a constantly evolving beast, with new technologies and innovations emerging all the time. Who knows what the future holds? Flying cars, teleportation, cars that run on nothing but good vibes and positive energy? Whatever the future may bring, one thing's for sure, it's going to be one hell of a ride. So buckle up, keep your eyes on the road, and most importantly, never stop exploring the exciting world of automotive technology. Which of these technologies do you think is the most revolutionary? Or are you waiting for a bigger invention? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more exciting content. See you in the next video.